An academic discipline or academic field is a subdivision of knowledge that is taught and researched at the college or university level. Disciplines are defined, in part, and recognized by the academic journals in which research is published, and the learned societies and academic departments or faculties within colleges and universities to which their practitioners belong. Academic disciplines are conventionally divided into the humanities, including philosophy, language, art, and cultural studies, the scientific disciplines, such as physics, chemistry, and biology, and the formal sciences like mathematics and computer science. The social sciences are sometimes considered a fourth category. It is also known as a field of study, field of inquiry, research field, and branch of knowledge. The different terms are used in different countries and fields. Individuals associated with academic disciplines are commonly referred to as experts or specialists. Others, who may have studied liberal arts or systems theory rather than concentrating in a specific academic discipline, are classified as generalists. While each academic discipline is a more or less focused practice, scholarly approaches such as multidisciplinarity/interdisciplinarity, transdisciplinarity, and cross-disciplinarity integrate aspects from multiple disciplines, thereby addressing any problems that may arise from narrow concentration within specialized fields of study. For example, professionals may encounter trouble communicating across academic disciplines because of differences in jargon, specified concepts, or methodology. Some researchers believe that academic disciplines may, in the future, be replaced by what is known as Mode 2 or post-academic science, which involves the acquisition of cross-disciplinary knowledge through the collaboration of specialists from various academic disciplines. The University of Paris in 1231 consisted of 4 faculties: theology, medicine, canon law, and arts. Educational institutions originally used the term discipline to catalog and archive the new and expanding body of information produced by the scholarly community. Disciplinary designations originated in German universities during the beginning of the 19th century. Most academic disciplines have their roots in the mid to late 19th century secularization of universities, when the traditional curricula were supplemented with non-classical languages and literatures. Social sciences such as political science, economics, sociology, and public administration, and natural science and technology disciplines such as physics, chemistry, biology, and engineering. In the early 20th century, new academic disciplines such as education and psychology were added. In the 1970s and 1980s, there was an explosion of new academic disciplines focusing on specific themes, such as media studies, women's studies, and Africana studies. Many academic disciplines designed as preparation for careers and professions, such as nursing, hospitality management, and corrections, also emerged in the universities. Finally, interdisciplinary scientific fields of study such as biochemistry and geophysics gained prominence as their contribution to knowledge became widely recognized. Some new disciplines, such as public administration, can be found in more than one disciplinary setting. Some public administration programs are associated with business schools, thus emphasizing management, while others are linked to political science, emphasizing policy analysis. As the 20th century approached, these designations were gradually adopted by other countries and became the accepted conventional subjects. However, these designations differed between various countries. In the 20th century, the natural science disciplines included physics, chemistry, biology, geology, and astronomy. The social science disciplines included economics, politics, sociology, and psychology. Prior to the 20th century, categories were broad and general, which was expected due to the lack of interest in science at the time. Most practitioners of science were amateurs and were referred to as natural historians and natural philosophers, labels that date back to Aristotle instead of scientists. Natural history referred to what we now call life sciences, and natural philosophy referred to the current physical sciences. Prior to the 20th century, few opportunities existed for science as an occupation outside the educational system. Higher education provided the institutional structure for scientific investigation, as well as economic support for research and teaching. Soon, the volume of scientific information rapidly increased and researchers realized the importance of concentrating on smaller, narrower fields of scientific activity. Because of this narrowing, scientific specializations emerged. As these specializations developed, modern scientific disciplines in universities also improved their sophistication. Eventually, academia's identified disciplines became the foundations for scholars of specific specialized interests and expertise. Functions and criticism. An influential critique of the concept of academic disciplines came from Michel Foucault in his 1975 book, Discipline and Punish. Foucault asserts that academic disciplines originate from the same social movements and mechanisms of control that established the modern prison and penal system in 18th-century France, and that this fact reveals essential aspects they continue to have in common. The disciplines characterize, classify, specialize, they distribute along a scale, around a norm, hierarchize individuals in relation to one another and, if necessary, disqualify and invalidate. Foucault, 1975/1979, p. 223. Communities of academic disciplines. Communities of academic disciplines can be found outside academia within corporations, government agencies, and independent organizations, where they take the form of associations of professionals with common interests and specific knowledge. Such communities include corporate think tanks, NASA, and IUPAC. Communities such as these exist to benefit the organizations affiliated with them by providing specialized new ideas, research, and findings. Nations at various developmental stages will find the need for different academic disciplines during different times of growth. A newly developing nation will likely prioritize government, political matters, and engineering over those of the humanities, arts, and social sciences. On the other hand, a well-developed nation may be capable of investing more in the arts and social sciences. Communities of academic disciplines would contribute at varying levels of importance during different stages of development. Interactions. These categories explain how the different academic disciplines interact with one another. Multidisciplinary, or pluridisciplinary, knowledge is associated with more than one existing academic discipline or profession. A multidisciplinary community or project is made up of people from different academic disciplines and professions. One key question is how well the challenge can be decomposed into subparts, and then addressed via the distributed knowledge in the community. The lack of shared vocabulary between people and communication overhead can sometimes be an issue in these communities and projects. If challenges of a particular type need to be repeatedly addressed so that each one can be properly decomposed, a multidisciplinary community can be exceptionally efficient and effective. There are many examples of a particular idea appearing in different academic disciplines, all of which came about around the same time. One example of this scenario is the shift from the approach of focusing on sensory awareness of the whole, and attention to the total field, a sense of the whole pattern, of form and function as a unity, an integral idea of structure and configuration. This has happened in art, in the form of cubism, physics, poetry, communication, and educational theory. According to Marshall McLuhan, this paradigm shift was due to the passage from the era of mechanization, which brought sequentiality, to the era of the instant speed of electricity, which brought simultaneity. Multidisciplinary approaches also encourage people to help shape the innovation of the future. The political dimensions of forming new multidisciplinary partnerships to solve the so-called societal grand challenges were presented in the Innovation Union and in the European Framework Programme, the Horizon 2020 operational overlay. Innovation across academic disciplines is considered the pivotal foresight of the creation of new products, systems, and processes for the benefit of all society's growth and well-being. Regional examples such as biopeople and industry academia initiatives in translational medicine such as share.ku.dk in Denmark provide evidence of the successful endeavor of multidisciplinary innovation and facilitation of the paradigm shift. Cross-disciplinary knowledge is that which explains aspects of one discipline in terms of another. Common examples of cross-disciplinary approaches are studies of the physics of music or the politics of literature. Bibliometrics can be used to map several issues in relation to disciplines, for example, the flow of ideas within and among disciplines, Lindholm-Romanskuk, 1998, or the existence of specific national traditions within disciplines. Scholarly impact and influence of one discipline on another may be understood by analyzing the flow of citations. The bibliometrics approach is described as straightforward because it is based on simple counting. The method is also objective, but the quantitative method may not be compatible with the qualitative assessment and therefore manipulated. The number of citations is dependent on the number of persons working in the same domain instead of inherent quality or published results originality. In practice, transdisciplinary can be thought of as the union of all interdisciplinary efforts. While interdisciplinary teams may be creating new knowledge that lies between several existing disciplines, a transdisciplinary team is more holistic and seeks to relate all disciplines into a coherent whole. Transdisciplinarity is an approach that iteratively interweaves knowledge systems, skills, methodologies, values, and fields of expertise within inclusive and innovative collaborations that bridge academic disciplines and community perspectives, to develop transformative outcomes that respond to complex societal challenges. While multidisciplinarity involves studying a subject from multiple disciplines that maintain their separate identities, interdisciplinarity integrates these perspectives to create something greater than the sum of its parts. Transdisciplinarity extends beyond academia by involving societal partners in co-creating knowledge that combines scientific and practical expertise to develop solutions with direct impact on society. Transdisciplinary research. Transdisciplinary research connotes research strategies that cross disciplinary and beyond disciplinary, social knowledge, boundaries to create a holistic approach. It applies to research efforts focused on problems that cross the boundaries of two or more disciplines, such as research on effective information systems for biomedical research, see bioinformatics, and can refer to concepts or methods that were originally developed by one discipline, but are now used by several others, such as ethnography, a field research method originally developed in anthropology but now widely used by other disciplines. The Belmont Forum elaborated that a transdisciplinary approach is enabling inputs and scoping across scientific and non-scientific stakeholder communities and facilitating a systemic way of addressing a challenge. This includes initiatives that support the capacity building required for the successful transdisciplinary formulation and implementation of research actions. Transdisciplinarity has two common meanings. German usage. In German-speaking countries, transdisciplinarität refers to the integration of diverse approaches, and includes specific methods for relating knowledge in problem solving. A 2003 conference held at the University of Göttingen showcased the diverse meanings of inter- and transdisciplinarity and made suggestions for converging them without eliminating present usages. When the very nature of a problem is under dispute, transdisciplinarity can help determine the most relevant problems and questions involved. A first type of question concerns the cause of the present problems and their future development, system knowledge. Another concerns which values and norms can be used to form goals of the problem-solving process, target knowledge. A third relates to how a problematic situation can be transformed and improved, transformation knowledge. Transdisciplinarity requires adequate addressing of the complexity of problems and the diversity of perceptions of them, that abstract and case-specific knowledge are linked, and that practices promote the common good. Transdisciplinarity arises when participating experts interact in an open discussion and dialogue, giving equal weight to each perspective and relating them to each other. This is difficult because of the overwhelming amount of information involved, and because of incommensurability of specialized languages in each field of expertise. To excel under these conditions, researchers need not only in-depth knowledge and know-how of the disciplines involved, but skills in moderation, mediation, association, and transfer. Wider usage. Transdisciplinarity is also used to signify a unity of knowledge beyond disciplines. Jean Piaget introduced this usage of the term in 1970, and in 1987, the International Center for Transdisciplinary Research, CIRET, adopted the Charter of Transdisciplinarity at the First World Congress of Transdisciplinarity, Convento de Arabida, Portugal, November 1994. In the CIRET approach, transdisciplinarity is radically distinct from interdisciplinarity. Interdisciplinarity, like pluridisciplinarity, concerns the transfer of methods from one discipline to another, allowing research to spill over disciplinary boundaries, but staying within the framework of disciplinary research. As the prefix trans indicates, transdisciplinarity concerns that which is at once between the disciplines, across the different disciplines, and beyond each individual discipline. Its goal is the understanding of the present world, of which one of the imperatives is the overarching unity of knowledge. Another critical defining characteristic of transdisciplinary research is the inclusion of stakeholders in defining research objectives and strategies in order to better incorporate the diffusion of learning produced by the research. Collaboration between stakeholders is deemed essential, not merely at an academic or disciplinary collaboration level, but through active collaboration with people affected by the research and community-based stakeholders. In such a way, transdisciplinary collaboration becomes uniquely capable of engaging with different ways of knowing the world, generating new knowledge, and helping stakeholders understand and incorporate the results or lessons learned by the research. Transdisciplinarity is defined by Bazarov Nicolescu through three methodological postulates: the existence of levels of reality, the logic of the included middle, and complexity. In the presence of several levels of reality, the space between disciplines and beyond disciplines is full of information. Disciplinary research concerns, at most, one and the same level of reality. Moreover, in most cases, it only concerns fragments of one level of reality. On the contrary, transdisciplinarity concerns the dynamics engendered by the action of several levels of reality at once. The discovery of these dynamics necessarily passes through disciplinary knowledge. While not a new discipline or a new superdiscipline, transdisciplinarity is nourished by disciplinary research. In turn, disciplinary research is clarified by transdisciplinary knowledge in a new, fertile way. In this sense, disciplinary and transdisciplinary research are not antagonistic but complementary. As in the case of disciplinarity, transdisciplinary research is not antagonistic but complementary to multidisciplinarity and interdisciplinarity research. According to Nicolescu, transdisciplinarity is nevertheless radically distinct from multidisciplinarity and interdisciplinarity because of its goal, the understanding of the present world, which cannot be accomplished in the framework of disciplinary research. The goal of multidisciplinarity and interdisciplinarity always remains within the framework of disciplinary research. If transdisciplinarity is often confused with interdisciplinarity or multidisciplinarity, and by the same token, we note that interdisciplinarity is often confused with multidisciplinarity, this is explained in large part by the fact that all three overflow disciplinary boundaries. Advocates maintain this confusion hides the huge potential of transdisciplinarity. One of the best-known professionals of transdisciplinarity in Argentina is Pablo Tigani, and his concept about transdisciplinarity is: it is the art of combining several sciences in one person. A transdisciplinary is a scientist trained in various academic disciplines. This person merged all his knowledge into one thick wire. That united knowledge wire is used to solve problems that include many problems. The decision of a transdisciplinary executive is the only one that takes into account the total resolution of a problem without leaving any loose thread. Pablo Tigani. Currently, transdisciplinarity is a consolidated academic field that is giving rise to new applied researches, especially in Latin America and the Caribbean. In this sense, the transdisciplinary and biomimetics research of Javier Collado on Big History represents an ecology of knowledge between scientific knowledge and the ancestral wisdom of native peoples, such as indigenous peoples in Ecuador. According to Collado, the transdisciplinary methodology applied in the field of Big History seeks to understand the interconnections of the human race with the different levels of reality that coexist in nature and in the cosmos, and this includes mystical and spiritual experiences, very present in the rituals of shamanism with ayahuasca and other sacred plants. In abstract, the teaching of big history in universities of Brazil, Ecuador, Colombia, and Argentina implies a transdisciplinary vision that integrates and unifies diverse epistemes that are in, between, and beyond the scientific disciplines, that is, including ancestral wisdom, spirituality, art, emotions, mystical experiences, and other dimensions forgotten in the history of science, especially by the positivist approach. Transdisciplinary education. Transdisciplinary education is an approach that integrates different disciplines in a harmonious manner to construct new knowledge and elevate learners to higher domains of cognitive abilities and sustained knowledge and skills. It involves better neural networking for lifelong learning. Transdisciplinarity has been flagged internationally as an important aim of education. For example, Global Education Magazine, an international journal supported by UNESCO and UNCR. Transdisciplinarity represents the capable germ to promote an endogenous development of the evolutionary spirit of internal critical consciousness, where religion and science are complementary. Respect, solidarity, and cooperation should be global standards for the entire human development with no boundaries. This requires a radical change in the ontological models of sustainable development, global education, and world society. We must rely on the recognition of a plurality of models, cultures, and socio-economical diversification. As well as biodiversity is the way for the emergence of new species, cultural diversity represents the creative potential of world society. Within higher education, transdisciplinary curricula and programs have received increased attention as universities deal with the complexities of preparing students to tackle contemporary challenges and the future of work, with examples including the University College London's BAsc and MAsc degrees, the University of Hong Kong's Common Core curriculum, the School for Transdisciplinary Study at the University of Zurich, the Olin College of Engineering, the Transdisciplinary School at the University of Technology Sydney, the School of Integrated Studies of Singapore Management University. Influence in disciplines and fields. Arts and humanities. Transdisciplinarity can be found in the arts and humanities. For example, the Planetary Collegium seeks the development of transdisciplinary discourse in the convergence of art, science, technology, and consciousness research. The Plasticities Sciences Arts, PSA, research group also develops transdisciplinary approaches regarding humanities and fundamental sciences relationships as well as the art and science field. An example of transdisciplinary research in the arts and humanities can be seen in Lucy Jefferies' study on the work of Samuel Beckett, entitled Transdisciplinary Beckett, Visual Arts, Music, and the Creative Process. Human Sciences. The range of transdisciplinarity becomes clear when the four central questions of biological research, 1. Causation, 2. Ontogeny, 3. Adaptation, 4. Phylogeny after Nico Tinbergen 1963, see also Tinbergen's Four Questions, cf. Aristotle, causality/four major causes, are graphed against distinct levels of analysis, e.g. cell, organ, individual, group, cf. Flaws about the levels of complexity of Nikolai Hartmann 1940/1964. In this scheme of transdisciplinarity, all anthropological disciplines, paragraph C in the table of the PDF file below, their questions, paragraph A, see PDF file, and results, paragraph B, see PDF file, can be intertwined and allocated with each other. For examples how these aspects go into those little boxes in the matrix. This chart includes all realms of anthropological research, no one is excluded. It is the starting point for a systematical order for all human sciences, and also a source for a consistent networking and structuring of their results. This biopsychosocial orientation framework is the basis for the development of the fundamental theory of human sciences and for a transdisciplinary consensus. In this tabulated orientation matrix, the questions and reference levels in italics are also the subject of the humanities. Nico Tinbergen was familiar with both conceptual categories, i.e. the four central questions of biological research, and the levels of analysis, The tabulation was made by Gerhard Medicus. Certainly, a humanist perspective always involves a transdisciplinary focus. A good and classic example of mixing very different sciences was the work developed by Leibniz in 17th-18th centuries in order to create a universal system of justice. Health science. The term transdisciplinarity is increasingly prevalent in healthcare research and has been identified as important to improving the effectiveness and efficiency in healthcare. Transdisciplinary within public health emphasizes integrating diverse individuals, skills, perspectives, and expertise across disciplines to dissolve traditional boundaries and develop holistic approaches linking ecosystem and human health boundaries. Thank you for watching this video.